The garden that grows at night. Marco couldn't sleep. This happened sometimes, not because he was stressed or sad or had too much coffee. It happened because his mind was full of people, conversations, small moments from the day that he kept turning over like smooth stones in his hands. He sat up in bed and looked at the window. His balcony plant, a small, round leaf thing he'd bought at a market 3 weeks ago, was sitting in its terracotta pot, just where he'd left it. Nothing special, a little ordinary actually. He wasn't even sure what kind of plant it was. The woman at the market had just smiled and said, "It likes the night air." He hadn't thought much about that at the time, but now, at midnight, he noticed something. The plant was bigger. He got up slowly, as if moving too fast might break the moment. He opened the balcony door and stepped outside in his socks. The plant was definitely bigger. The leaves were wider, greener, almost glowing in the faint light of the city. And there were new ones, small, fresh leaves that hadn't been there that morning. He crouched down and looked at it carefully. How? He touched one of the leaves gently. It was warm, not hot, just warm. The way a cheek is warm when someone has been laughing. Marco stood up and looked out over the street below. The city was quiet, a few lights on in windows across the road. A cat is moving slowly along the pavement. The usual silence of a city that never fully sleeps. Then he saw it. A trail of petals on the balcony floor, leading from his plant toward the railing, and beyond, down toward the building next door. He followed them. Down the stairs, out the front door, around the corner, the petals continued along the pavement, pale and soft, like someone had walked through a garden and left pieces of it behind. Marco followed without thinking too hard about it. That was his way. He trusted people easily, and apparently he trusted mysterious flower petals too. The trail led him to the building on the next street, an old one, 5 floors, with a rusted fire escape running up the side. The petals led up the fire escape stairs. He climbed. At the top, he pushed open a heavy door and stepped onto the roof, and stopped. The rooftop was a garden, a real one. Not a few pots and some herbs, but a full, breathing, living garden. Roses and tomatoes and tall grasses and small fruit trees in wooden boxes. Lanterns hung between the plants on thin wire, giving off a soft orange glow. It smelled like rain and soil and something sweet he couldn't name. And there were people, 6, maybe 7 of them, different ages, different faces, quietly moving between the plants. Watering, trimming, sitting on upturned crates, drinking from thermoses, talking in low voices. Nobody seemed surprised to be there at 1 in the morning on a rooftop in the middle of the city. A woman with silver hair and muddy gloves looked up at Marco and smiled as if she'd been expecting him. "You followed the petals," she said. "I did," Marco said. "Was I supposed to?" Only some people do, she said. Most people see them and keep walking. She handed him a small trowel and pointed to an empty patch of soil near the edge of the roof. There's space there, she said, if you want it. Marco looked at the patch of soil. He looked at the people around him. Quiet, unhurried, happy in a way that was hard to describe. Not loud happy, just settled, like they were exactly where they were supposed to be. He took the trowel. He didn't ask many questions that night. He just worked alongside the others, pressing seeds into dark soil, listening to the city below, feeling the warm night air on his arms. Someone passed him a cup of tea without asking if he wanted one. He drank it. It tasted like mint and something else. Something that reminded him of his grandmother's kitchen, though he couldn't have said why. He left just before 3 in the morning, when the first gray light was starting to appear at the edge of the sky. Walking home, he thought about the people on the roof. He didn't know their names. He didn't know how long they'd been meeting there, or who had started it, or how the petals worked. But he knew he would go back. When he got home, he checked on his plant. It had grown again. 3 new leaves, white and green and warm to the touch. Marco smiled. He went back to bed, and this time he fell asleep immediately. His mind no longer full of loose, turning things, but quiet and settled like soil after rain. Good night.